and Chelsea is our social media specialist for the district, and she will kind of be fielding questions, and we'll talk about how that process will work in a minute here. But I'll let Chelsea kind of do the honors of doing the formality of asking to record.
Yeah, so I just began recording, just so everybody's aware. We will post this meeting to our website tomorrow for you to rewatch, or if you have a friend that you know that wasn't able to make it, they can watch it tomorrow. My name is Chelsea Brott, by the way. Richie used my...
Oh yeah, sorry.
So what we'll ask of you, if you would like to ask questions, just keep your mic muted during the meeting to avoid all that chatter and noise in the background. And then if you'd like to ask a question, you can use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, or you can type in the chat. Those are the two ways to do it within Google Meet here. I'm also going to put a note into the chat with a link to a Google Forms. So if you'd like to ask your question anonymously, you can just plug in your question into this Google form, and I will monitor that as we go. So I'll kind of need Richie's help maybe to field some questions during the meeting, but we'll try to get to everybody. And if we don't, we'll do our best to follow up after the fact.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to do a quick little introduction here. This is class of 2034. Can you believe that? That sounds so far out there, but it's real. Those of you might have attended our virtual, our general kindergarten overview last week. That the elementary principals did. We always do that in person. Obviously this year we have to think differently. And as a follow-up, I always get lots of questions about tours and lots of opportunities for families that have specific things they would like to know about Olodolago. So we decided to have this online open forum. Again, we've never done this before, so I don't know how many people we'll get. I'd like to get some feedback too at the end of it, because I think this is a great opportunity. It allows people that have little ones to connect from home, ask their questions, but also to kind of make some connections with we have our superintendent of schools here with us, who will give a brief introduction. We also have our teachers that are here. Will provide a overview.
I don't have a hard form, but I don't know what you have for it. No. Yeah?
Could everyone check where the mics are?
Where? Mikey, Donna? Okay.
Okay. So with that, we're going to try to do this. This is meant to be kind of informal and an opportunity to kind of ask your questions. Again, with the COVID, we normally have many opportunities. We have a registration night. We have a time for families to come in. We do a lot of tours. But obviously this year we are trying to think differently. So the format for this night will kind of be like what Chelsea said. There's that link that she just posted. But otherwise, what I really think the experience of this is I've asked about 5 or 6 parents that are current kindergarten family to kind of give their perspective of what it's like to be a kindergarten teacher or parent in a Spanish immersion school in either a distance learning or a hybrid model. So we want you to feel very confident and very knowledgeable about what it looks like, because I think it can seem a little bit, if you're a new family especially, like how does a kindergartner stay engaged in a Google meeting throughout the day? And we're the people to answer those questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Stallow, and after that, our teachers will kind of do a brief intro of who they are. And then I have a few families that have kind of come to give their perspective of what it is. And then from there, we'll just kind of have a conversation and we'll see where the night goes. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Stallow.
Great. Good evening, everyone. I'm Terry Stallow, and I am proud to serve as the superintendent of Prior Lake Savage Area Schools. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Before I came into this meeting, I was talking to my senior son, and I just kept thinking of you with incoming kindergartners or with current kindergartners. And It seems like yesterday, and it is such an important decision and such a wonderful time in your lives that we're just so grateful that you're exploring Prior Lake Savage Area Schools as well as the experience at Olodolago. So thank you for being here. Regardless of our programming, our mission, which we promise to every student and family, is to educate all learners to reach their full potential as contributing and productive members of our ever-changing global community. And we take that promise really, really seriously, and we have amazing staff who help us achieve that every single day. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our staff who are going to share more about the experience at Olodolago. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I forgot to introduce myself. I am Richie Kuczynski, and I'm the principal of Olodolago. This is my 7th year at Leola. With that, I will turn it over to, I can tell Miss Trumburger is ready to go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Trumburger, one of the kindergarten teachers. I've been teaching here in Prior Lake. This is going to be my 3rd year. I am originally from Ecuador, which, well, where I am right now, actually. Yes, just teaching for a month. Tina, I'll be back. Don't worry. No, yeah. So, I am the distance learning teacher, the kindergarten distance learning teacher. And it's been a wonderful experience. I think it's been so far a success, to be honest. And some of the parents are going to be able to talk about it. But yeah, it's been great to do this in a stressful and a different situation with being able to thrive. So it's been very, very exciting. And that's it. Okay. Do you want me to pass it over to somebody else, Richie? Okay, I'm passing it over to Adriana.
Hi, I'm Senora de la Cadena. My last name is too long, so I go by Senora de. Yes, I'm a kindergarten teacher. This is my 3rd year at Olodolago. I'm very excited. And yes, Anna, this is your 4th year, maybe. Yes, I'm from Ecuador too. And I think this year is going well so far. And I think we all appreciate what you are doing at home, all your efforts. We are very thankful. I pass it to Senora Geisler.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carolina Geisler. I am from Colombia. I have been at Leola for the past 6 years. I've been teaching kindergarten. It's actually quite interesting because this year, the first class that I taught will be graduating. So they will go to 6th grade, and it's very exciting to see how my little ones now are going into middle school. This has been a very interesting and challenging year, but I am very thankful and grateful for the families, for the students who continue to want to learn, who continue to be engaged, who are choosing to be at our school, and who are just loving learning a new language. I'm just very happy to meet you all, and I hope that you decide to be part of Olodolago next year. So with that, I pass it over to Senora Talamantes.
Hello, everybody. I am Maria Talamantes. Hola, Tina. Hola, Christine. Hi. I had been working for Olodolago around 6 years. First, like a substitute teacher. Now, as a full-time teacher. First, like first grade, and now I am kindergarten. I come from Mexico. And I just love Olodolago. It's a wonderful school. I just love it. It's a small community. We are like a family. What I saw is that all the teachers, we're like a mama teachers, is what we call everybody. So we love diversity, and I love my colleagues from Ecuador, from Peru, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, Argentina. So we love new experience and new languages, because it's not just the diversity between the teachers, it's just with the kids. I have kids from Nigeria, so a lot of countries. So it's a really, really good place. It's a small and big global community. So come back to you, Richie.
Wonderful, thank you. I'd also like to introduce Miss Jody is our secretary, Jody Anderson, and I'll let her say a few words.
Hey, I'm Jody Anderson, secretary, and I've been working at Olodolago for probably about 4 years now, and I love every minute of it. I love all the kids, I love all the families, and I love the school. And just like Maria said, it is like a family. We all just get to enjoy each other, and I just feel like the kids just enjoy coming every day, and we just love to see them, whether it's distance or right in the school. So I love everything about Olodolago. So it's a great place.
Thanks, Jody. That's what we can do and share, because that's our job and we do it every day. But I know we wanted this to be intentional to get that parent perspective. So again, I've invited, our team has invited probably 5 or 6 parents that are just gonna share kind of their experience. This is not rehearsed. They just offered to kind of volunteer their time. So I'm gonna start with Annie. I know you're ready to go, you're eager, and we're just gonna go from there. And then again, if you have any questions, please add them to that chat feature. You could type them in. We do have a moderator doing that if you joined us late. Chelsea, maybe you could share that link again. We've had about 6 more people join since we kind of did the introductions. But also, again, if you have a question you'd like to add, please add it in the chat feature, or you can raise your hand on there. So with that, Miss Atkins.
Hi, I'm Annie Atkins. We have a 4th grader at Leola, as well as a kindergartner who's in Senora Talamante's class. We've been with Olodolago. This is our 3rd school year. We actually did our first 2 years in immersion up in St. Louis Park at their immersion school. We moved into this district because there was an immersion option. And for us, my husband and I aren't bilingual, unfortunately, but we do travel a lot, and we love the idea of being able to connect more with another culture, have another language. And we would love to be able to give that gift to our kids. That was the kind of the big driver. And we have had friends that have had kids go up through immersion education, and we really wanted that for them. And we've been really happy with the transition to Leola, and coming from going into a new school and watching it build every year has been really, really exciting. So I will pass the baton to Kelly Dupaki. Is she in here? I feel like I saw her.
Hi, Annie.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Kelly Dupaki. I have a son in Senora Day's class in kindergarten. He's our oldest, so this is a new experience for us. We have never had a kid go into any in-person learning or distance, so this was very, very new for us and very fresh. And I say that we've never had a kid go in, and that's actually a lie. Jake was in kindergarten before, and as well as Annie loving to travel and loving the cultural experience, we felt like going to kindergarten the first time, he's on that September cusp. So we put him into early kindergarten in a private school. We really felt like he needed to be challenged a bit more so that he could feel like he was learning something new. He didn't know a lot of other languages, and so putting him into Leola was a really good way to challenge him and also have it feel familiar. He is just a sponge. He is loving it. Senora Day is amazing. We were actually referenced by many families, Annie, as well as our neighbors. So a lot of people in this area are very happy with it. And we've been really, really grateful as first-time parents with this family and this community that we found. So thank you guys. Richie, who would you like me to pass it off to? I'm new, so I don't know everyone.
Nice. How about Joan?
Hi, everybody. My name is Joan, as you heard from Rach, and parents to two kids, one in first grade and one in kindergarten. And both of them have, at least currently, Nolan decided to stop in, has passed through Senora's Day's class. Liam was the teacher. Senora Day was the teacher. And the experience we've had has been amazing. We are one of those diverse families, I would say, as one of the teachers talked about. Originally born and raised in Kenya, but here I am in Minnesota. My husband and I, we enjoyed here. And we just felt like we also wanted to challenge the kids to learn another language other than what we could teach them at home. They're loving it. Currently, of course, this is a new year with different challenges, but we're truly grateful to the teachers, Miss Jody, the principal, everybody. The support we've had has been amazing and has made it a lot easier than it should be, really. Who would you like me to pass this next person to?
How about Kristen?
Hi. Thanks for having me to share. I'm happy to share our experiences. I also have two kiddos in Olodolago. My daughter is in kindergarten and Senora Trumburger is her teacher. So thank you for sticking in with us. And then my son is in third grade. So he has another teacher this year, but he was fortunate enough in first grade to have Senora Talamantes as a teacher as well. So we've had experiences with two of the teachers here today, and they've both been wonderful working with us. Because as Annie indicated, they're not bilingual. We're not bilingual as well. So we really do look to our teachers for how can we support our children and what resources are there out there when we don't speak the language that they're being taught. So why did we choose Olodolago? So I'll go through two different choices here. So of course, growing up, we like to travel a lot prior to having children, and just not being able to speak the languages in the places that we went, it just there's like something core in me that I really wanted to reach out and communicate with individuals instead of stumbling over my questions and trying to have that communication with folks. And so I wanted that for my children when we eventually had them. The other one is I've worked for Hennepin County for about 15 years now, and just locally seeing the need that we have for multilingual individuals in the workforce so that we can better serve our communities and just have that communication and be able to open doors and expand horizons for our kids. So we landed in Prior Lake prior to having kids, but then after my son was born, we found out there was this opportunity for a Spanish immersion program, and I was just like, this is it. This is what I wish I would have had growing up. So of course, we did a little bit more research into it, what it entails, and the curriculum and things like that. But it just felt right, and it felt good to put my kids in a school where there is such wonderful community, and they mentioned, it's like a big family. So you really do get to know your kids' classmates. I don't know that we would have gotten that at the standard schools. Not to say that there isn't community, but I just really feel like because we chose this for our kids, that we really want to know the other families and the other kids attending the schools too. So it's been amazing thus far, and I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you guys have about decision-making processes and such. So.
Great. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Joan, again. The last parent that is kind of officially part of the panel is Julie.
Hi, Julie Falzenthal. We have a kindergartner who, this is her first year. This is our first kindergartner. We have two other little girls. We weren't sure about doing Olodolago when we first started. And we did a tour with Richie, and I remember when he was giving us the tour, he said, you are going to feel like a community when you're here. It feels like a family. And I thought, oh, of course, all the principals are going to tell me that, right? we chose Olodolago because we wanted we want all three of our children actually to be bilingual. I have a minor in Spanish, and as I've gone through my life, I've lost at least half of it. And so I figured starting early would be a great way for it to be ingrained in them. And when we started, we are in Senora Trumburger's class, so we are distance learning, but we still feel like we are that community. And I agree. I don't think we would have gotten that at another school doing the distance learning, but intentionally, Senora Trumburger and the teacher and the parent moms of the classroom have made us have these have these opportunities for get-togethers where we still are able to kind of do these Google Meets for the kids to get to know each other. We met at a park, and we truly did form a little community, even though we are distance learning. And we switched to hybrid after first quarter. And so my daughter got to go to school for 2 days before we went back to distance learning. And the school was amazingly flexible with that. So she went 2 days to Senora Geisler's class and loved it. And of course wanted to stay and couldn't. And she's back in Senora Trumburger's distance learning class. And that was for consistency's sake. And you know, Richie was great about that. He emailed us. He said, here's your options. Here's your preferences. We're going to go back to distance. If you want to go back to your same teacher, you can do that. And so we did. And it couldn't have been for us to keep that routine. Hopefully we'll go back to hybrid or in person here in the spring, and she can get back to being in the classroom, because that was really exciting for her. But I mean, the minute we walked in, even that first day of second quarter, Richie was there and Jody was there to welcome her in and make her feel welcome, even though it wasn't the true first day, right? It was just her first day. And so it was a great experience. The teachers have been amazing. We worked with 2 of them, like I said, and I would choose it again and again.
Great. Thank you so much. You know, I do see a couple other families that have an incoming kindergartner, but also our current families. I'll just open it up if anybody else would like to kind of just add anything else to the mix. Other than that, I think I've seen a few questions come in. We'll start to.
All right, do you want me to start reading questions?
Yeah, go ahead, Chelsea.
All right, so how many kindergarten teachers do you have at Olodolago?
You see all 4 of them right here. So 4 are here, and it's a very strong team. So.
All right, the next question is there a lottery system for enrollment into Olodolago? We currently have a first grader enrolled, and next fall we want to send our kindergartner with his sibling.
We do, yes. There is a process. So if you watch the kindergarten video from last Thursday, if you haven't done that yet, I'd encourage you. That was talked about in there about how our registration process works across the district. But registration does open 14th. We encourage you to get that application in as soon as possible. We do have a priority window time for resident families, being live within the Prior Lake Savage Area School boundaries. And then from that, if we hit our enrollment cap, we would have a resident lottery first. To this date, we haven't had to do that with resident families. And to answer the question about the sibling, yes, if you have a sibling at Olodolago, that would kind of give a little bit of priority, because we do want to honor the families there. And then if you are a family that lives outside of the district, that's considered open enrollment. Assuming that we have space left, then we would take all of our open enrollment applications and then do a lottery system from there, and then starts placing families. One thing I do like to encourage every year is we always get a lot of interest in the beginning, but that wait list fluctuates quite a bit over the summer. I've seen it fluctuate as much as 70 spaces. So just kind of keep that in mind if you have a spot on there. Open enrollment students aren't placed until later in the spring. But then sometimes we have had many families that have been placed at like Five Hawks or at another school in Prior Lake, we've kept in contact over the summer saying we still want to come to Laola. And then either before the school year starts, a spot opens up, or we've even over the course of the school year added students that have been at other schools or decided to come. We actually just got a brand new student yesterday in Senora Day's class. So moved here from, I believe, Ohio. So that's kind of how that process works. So.
All right, let's move to Laura Johnson, and then we'll go back to the chat. Looks like, Laura, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question. So I have 3 little boys that are all going to be entering kindergarten next year. And is there a possibility that, like, if they reach the lottery, we are residents, by the way, of the Savage, could one of them get in and not all 3? Is that a possibility, or would it be kind of an all or nothing type thing?
That's a great question. Every year we have siblings or like twins that are in the same boat. Every family's given one number. So if you're like, you won't have 3 numbers. If one of them is drawn, then all 3 of them would be accepted right with that, where that lands. So
perfect. Thank you.
Chelsea, before you take the next question, I just want to come in a minute. I've got to step out for another meeting, but I just want to, again, thank you all for being here tonight. Olodolago really is a special place, and I encourage you, as our safety protocols and people come back, that you tour and you keep talking to the people who have made it so wonderful, our staff and our families. It really is a special place, and you can feel the love when you walk in. And yes, all of our schools, you can feel that, but Olodolago is certainly special. So thank you very much, and I'm gonna pop off. Good night.
Thank you, Terry.
All right, so I have another couple of comments or questions in the chat. First one is, our specialist content area, music, art, PE, taught in Spanish?
Do one of our teachers want to answer that? Because I can talk, but I think since we've got your voice here, I'd like to get a teacher's perspective on that.
Okay, so no, our specialists are in English, music, art, and film are in English. We are more of a 90-10 program, so 90%, especially in kindergarten, 90% will be in Spanish, and that 10% will be in English.
All right, I see someone.
I can add, sorry. So they do their hardest to integrate Spanish into some of the activities that they do, because I know my now 3rd grader, I've definitely come to some of the music sessions and things where they're singing Spanish songs, and so there is some integration with it. It's just not 100% immersion for the special. So that's my
So just to kind of thank you, Kristen, thank you, Anna. So all of our specialists in Prior Lake have the same structure. On a 5-day rotating cycle, there's Phi-Ed is taught twice, music, art, and then media specialists. So.
All right, there's.
Can I come in a little bit, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Hi everyone. My name is Odell Idris. We're a new resident in Savage. We just came from Egan. I was wondering when enrollment gonna start? Like when school gonna open for kindergarten?
Sorry, I missed that. Say that one more time.
No, when school's gonna start, like the distance learning for kindergarten?
So the question I think was, when's kindergarten going to go back in person, or the distance?
No, I mean with the whole distance learning, like the Google Meet and everything.
Like time of the day? What time in the morning? Okay.
Yeah, because my son is new and he hasn't started yet, so I don't know when he's gonna get enrolled to begin.
I think she's asking for about the continuous enrollment, Richie, that you were talking about earlier. Can she enroll her child now because they just moved?
Yeah, because
When can she
he's not
restart?
yet enrolled and he's just home doing nothing.
Oh, is he a current kindergartner?
Now he's going to turn 5 in January, and he has not yet started whatsoever. No.
Yeah, if he's a current kindergartner, or if it's looking to come to if it's at a different place, I'd encourage you to contact. You can contact me on our website, and I can talk you through how that would work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do that.
I'm also going to place a link to our kindergarten enrollment page in the chat. So you can look there for more information, and then there will be a button on there to enroll. That will be for the current year. On January 14th, the new enrollment will start for next school year. So I'll just place that in the chat here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So the next question I have is, can you explain what a distance learning day looks like?
I'm going to turn that over to our kindergarten team.
Sure, I can go. So we basically kind of followed the same schedule that we used to do at school. So we start at 9:30 and we start with a morning meeting, and then we have whole groups or small group meetings with the kids, and we go up to about noon, and then they have a break from 12 to 1. And then from 1 to 3, usually, where we have also afternoon connections or afternoon meetings, and we have whole group and small group sessions with them. And then after that is kind of like specialist time, where the specialist teacher will assign CISO activities, or they would meet with the kids. And throughout the day, when the kids are not meeting with the teacher, they have assignments to do either on CISO or iExcel, which is one of the math apps that we use, or RASKits, or any other assignment that we have. Like we use a lot of books or booklets and worksheets and all that we have sent home, because we also believe that kids need to, use pencil to do some of the work. So it looks very similar to what they would be doing if they were at school right now. I don't know if any of the other kindergarten teachers would like to chime in anything else.
I would be okay, Julie or Kristen, for you guys to share a little bit of your experience in DLA, how it looks like. Sorry to put you in a spot.
Yeah, sure. I can do that. So with our kindergartner, we have the morning meeting like they were talking about. So with Senora Trumburger, Evie gets on and she does her morning meeting, and it's they sing songs, and it's very repetitive. So she gets to know the language that way and gets exposed and used to it. And then they have a little bit of a break, and then she has a small group, and then it's about 20-minute small group meetings. And she has 2 or 3 of those in the morning most days. And then in the afternoon, she'll have 1 or 2 small group meetings. And then in between, there are great assignments that go along with those small group conversations that they're doing. Most of them are on Seesaw, super easy to follow along. And it's been great. The questions that we've had, they're super responsive on Seesaw. So whether it was Senora Trumburger or Senora Geisler, depending on which day, they were super responsive, because as a non-fluent Spanish speaker, especially in the beginning, we had a lot of questions, and it was great to just be able to ask those and get those answers really fast.
Yeah, I'll second what Kelly said. That's really the same experience that we've had. It's between 3 to 4 meetings per day, sometimes full class, sometimes small group. And then something that I really appreciate that still continues with distance learning is the body movement that is done throughout the class. So it's not that your child is just sitting at a computer. It's, Anna's like, okay, stand up, and then we're going to do these things. So there's movement, which was something that I really appreciated about my son going through kindergarten. And one of the things that I really loved about Olodolago is how physical the classrooms are. There's always a lot of movement. There's standing up activities. I remember the kindergarten teacher at that time, she said that she really is kind of doing an actress type thing throughout the day, because most students don't know any Spanish when they come in, so they have to act everything out. So everything is very, very visually engaging and auditorily engaging. So it's just that still continues even with distance learning. Maybe not as much as it was if we were in a classroom setting, which we all really look forward to getting back to someday. But it's still there, and God forbid, I hope we don't have to do that when you guys are making the decision for fall. But we did decide to do Distance Learning Academy from the get-go. We're one of the families who opted for that. So I have been very happy with what the teachers have done, considering the limited resources and just the situation we're in. So thank you.
And just really quick, speaking from a hybrid perspective with kindergarten, our son started in hybrid this year. So he was in school Mondays and Thursdays, and then at home Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The day was really similar to what Kristen described. There was a little less meetings, as the teacher during hybrid is in class with the other kids on the off days. But there was still a morning group meeting that was at 9 o'clock in the morning before she had kids in the classroom, where the kids that were at home would be able to engage with the teacher. She'd kind of go over what the plan was for the day. And then our son would go through seesaw activities and different videos and things that had been pre-recorded. And it was really easy to follow along with just this spreadsheet that they have set up online with pictures and links, and we would kind of go through that independently as a family on those at-home days. Now that we're home, it looks exactly what Kristen is describing. We're in Google Meets multiple times throughout the day, or he's in Google Meets multiple times throughout the day, and then there's some activities that complement what they're doing with their teacher in the meets that they're doing when the teacher is not in the meet with them.
All right. The next question is, what is the student-teacher ratio?
So our student-teacher ratio right now is about 22 students in a class. And our district does follow the same guidelines that the rest of the district does. So anywhere in any kindergarten class in Prior Lake, you'll find between maybe 20 to 22 is kind of the average this year.
And then another question is, our school that we would attend if we didn't go to Olodolago would be Jeffers Pond. To my understanding, they do more of their school day outside. How much of the day is spent outside at Leola?
Great. I can speak generally about that, and then if any of the teachers would like to kind of say what it specifically looks like in kindergarten. So as you probably have heard, our district is an ESTEM district, environmental education, science, technology, engineering, and math. That is kind of a mission that we try to incorporate. It's actually a school board initiative. So we do our best to incorporate as much outdoor learning as possible. And ESTEM in itself isn't really like a content area. It kind of expands all the areas. One thing we're very fortunate this year is, you probably aware, but this year we were housed in the Edgewood building, which is the Early Learning Center, and then part of Westwood. This was our first year of taking over our own school. And one of the fabulous things that we have now with our brand new school, but we also have lots of green space and outdoor places to visit for classrooms. Our staff, in the beginning, we identified 10 learning areas outside where classrooms have visited this year, especially with the COVID and face masks, getting outside was very important. So if any other teachers have anything specific to share about that, I will let them chime in here.
Well, right now for hybrid, we have like 2 breaks during the day. They are 20 minutes each. And yeah, usually in a normal setting, I can't recall very well, but I think it is 20 minutes outside, and they have, anyways, they have like multiple motor breaks throughout the day.
Great, thank you.
I know from my son, when I would ask him how his day was, one of the highlights was always that he got to go outside with Mr. Humbert and the games that they got to play. So I know that it's making an impact because he would always talk about going outside.
Just talking about that eSTEM approach that we have in DLA, we are being a little bit more conscientious about that. So we actually had a eSTEM day. We just did tons of eSTEM activities, and it was just nice to see the kiddos in that mindset of being scientists and trying these different things. So it was something new, but it was exciting. So it's something that we're also trying around the district. Last year we did one eSTEM day per quarter, so it was nice to have just that day to be surrounded by the science and technology and math and engineering and environment. So.
Also, we try to take advantage of the good weather, like at the beginning of the school year and especially at the end, and we try to get the kids out and try to do our lessons outside. Like we use our science journal and we go outside and journal about what we see, or if there is any other content that we can teach outside, we try to do that during the winter. It gets a little bit challenging because of the snow and the cold. But we have done some lessons with Sumon, but she is no longer part of the district. But yes, we do try to incorporate a lot of outside time because kids need that.
Yeah, even during snacks, sometimes we go outside with them when the weather allows us.
All right, anyone else on that topic? So the next question is, there's diversity in the teachers, but how diverse are the classrooms and the students?
That's a great question. Prior Lake is not as diverse as a lot of cities in Minnesota. I've been here 7 years, and I can say that our diversity is increasing. And I would say Olodolago is pretty much kind of, I wouldn't say it's any more or less than any other schools in Prior Lake. So.
Well, I would like to add something. We love diversity, and I have students from Peru, Paraguay, Mexico. Now I have one from Nigeria. So from a couple countries, and that's really nice and really good for the students to know about different countries. The diversity is one of the big things in here in Olodolago.
I would also like to mention that we have our new equity team. So we are actually working with parents. So we have parent affinity groups. That has been wonderful. I know that NECA is part of that too. So it's something else to join our families.
And during our lesson time, we are trying to plan also activities that teach the kids about different cultures.
All right. Are the library books and textbooks all in Spanish, or is there a mixture of Spanish and English?
Yes, and I would love for someone in our parents to kind of give a perspective on this too. But our library is a bilingual library. We are Spanish collection and resources. But maybe I'll let some parents talk about, and I see a couple PTC members on here, talk about how that has been some of our work too.
I guess I'll take it. Yeah, the library has a very good English selection. We actually inherited the collection from the Greenwood School, so it's a fully stocked elementary library like you would get at any of the other elementary schools in Prior Lake. But we brought over all of the Spanish books from the old school, and that collection's grown a ton. That's, as a parent coming from a very established immersion school that had a big library, that was really important for me to see the growth in this library when they had only had 4 years of growth or 5 years of growth now. So the librarian or media specialist encouraged the kids to get one English book and one Spanish book. This year, it's off to a little bit of a different start because we're not really in the building like normal, but they have tried to get a lot of books that are high interest for the kids. So if it's Fly Guy, like for kindergartners, they tend to like that. There's a good Fly Guy collection, all the Elephant and Piggy books that are high engagement and repetitive language that's so important for the kids when learning the language. There's really plugged into that. And I know our teacher has been sending home like booklets that the kids have been working on, coloring and practicing words. Like this week it's red, and so there's a booklet that they're coloring things red, and the apple is red, the shoes are red, just a lot of things that are red. And the kids get to record a video and send that back with the work that they're doing and practicing the language so that the teacher can hear that back. And then as far as textbooks go, the math book has been in Spanish, but the instructions are in English for the parents, which is very much appreciated. So we're seeing what the kids are supposed to be doing rather than trying to Google translate it.
Yeah, I'll add just from my knowledge of when we were full-time in school, when my son was younger, all of the instructional material was 100% in Spanish. So when homework did come home, I didn't have those English instructions, but he could ask the teacher, of course, the next day if there was any homework. But now with distance learning, they've been very good at making sure that the parents have the materials that we need so that we can help with instruction wherever needed. So, all of those gaps are being filled. But yeah, the instructional materials, especially when they are in school five days a week, it's 100% Spanish. And I know it changes as they go through the grades, because then they start to do some more English education, preparing them for middle school. So as they do age up and age out of Olodolago, they will start having some more English classes. My son is starting to do that in 3rd grade, just so that you get a full picture of kind of what the arc looks like from starting in kindergarten going through the whole program. But yeah, so it's been very engaging for them, and I know I'm learning a lot too. So.
All right, so the next question is, in kindergarten, do children that have already had experience with learning Spanish split off from children that haven't?
That's a question that I get every year. If you're familiar, we have a El Bosque Encantado has a lot of students that are currently there, that they're a preschool, Spanish immersion preschool. And every year I get a couple questions about if there's preference or priority, or if we do that with class listening. And the answer is we really don't. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Is because when a student comes into kindergarten, if they're able to understand and speak some Spanish, that number one, that gives them an opportunity to kind of be a leader those first few days. But also it is you know, we always kind of go back to how does it affect the content too of what the students are trying to learn. So any of the teachers want to add to that too, because I think we have conversations every year with families about there's always a range of opinions on that.
Sure. I will say that, you know, each kid is different and they come with different knowledge and different background. So just because they come from El Bosque doesn't mean that they know a ton of Spanish. You know, some kids we get that they know a lot, some don't know much. And just that variety makes, you know, the beginning of the school year in kindergarten great, because the ones that know a little bit more can help the ones that don't know a lot, or the ones that know less, like copy the ones that know a little bit more, and that helps them a lot, and that gives them confidence to both groups, you know. So I think we will really do a disservice if we would separate them, because it is great to have them, you know, together.
And my son's one that came from El Bosque, but he was only there the last year of preschool. And him going into the class, like it has, like you said, given him a lot of confidence, because he can't, or he couldn't going in speak very much, but he can follow directions in Spanish. And so he was very proud when Senora Talamantes has been, you know, asking them to stand up, sit down, you know, let's go get in line or something. Like he's recognizing these words and he's feeling very important, and like he can help his friends understand too. So
something else also, if your child does not know any Spanish, don't worry, it is okay. We will make sure for them to understand what we're saying. We use a lot of TPR, total physical response, so a lot of movement. You're going to see a lot of gestures with our faces, even in distance learning that happens. So yeah, I think they build on each other, and we make sure that everyone is getting the message across. If you know some Spanish, or if you don't, we make sure that that the kiddos are getting the message.
All right. The next question is, I noticed in the video presented during the kindergarten call, the kindergarten information session, that you had interns. Is that still the case this year? I'm assuming these were helpers, but is that accurate? If a child is struggling, how is extra help obtained?
So that's a great question, and I'll let any of our parents or our teachers. Interns have always been a part of Leola. We were planning on having interns this year. The interns especially help in kindergarten. They make such close relationships with them. And the only reason that it didn't happen this year is Amity actually across the country, for a lot of reasons, that program didn't work this year. But we are hoping for next year to do that. But our interns, yes, you probably have heard stories of families that have hosted, or just how they've helped out in the classroom. Maybe some of the kindergarten teachers or parents want to talk about the value of interns. And the reason I bring it forward is because when we talked about our parent-teacher PTC group, the biggest fundraiser that we normally do is to support interns in the classroom. And the interns work a lot with kindergarten, primarily with kindergarten, especially in the beginning, but they do work with all grade levels. So, but we miss them this year. So that's all I can say, but I can't even imagine how much the other people do too.
Maybe I could talk on the importance or the benefits. We as a family benefited from interns. Last year, one of our kindergartner needed some little help. So we did reach out to the teacher, and this was really offered by the teacher. If you need extra time for reading or for the interns to work with them, and they did provide that. So we got that extra help that as a parent we could not provide because we don't speak Spanish. And you know, they always had their regular meetings, and this was the extra help that they benefited from. So we truly miss them.
All right, the next question. I've heard about Lego League. Is this still something part of PLSAS?
Yes, our Lego League is a very popular option. It's kind of that intro to robotics type thing. And we have a very robust community education program. It looks a little different now, like everything due to COVID, but our turnout and our participation at Leola with Legos, with every other extracurricular after school activity was always well attended. And we've actually had many of our own teachers from Leola teach extension or enrichment classes after school in Spanish. I remember Senora Geisler taught a sports camp a few years ago after school. So, and I know Senora Talamantes has done some tutoring programs after school. So everything that is available, and then the other schools, they do offer it at Leola as well.
All right. Is transportation provided for families living in the district?
Yes. The difference is that if you see the presentation, wherever you live in Prior Lake, there's 6 different resident zones for which school you're assigned to, whether it be Red Tail Ridge or Five Hawks or Hamilton Ridge. Olodolago does not have an attendance boundary because we are open to the entire district. So no matter where you live in the district, busing is provided. If you are an open enrolled family, you are able to drive your child to an existing bus stop and then ride from there. So we have a few open enrolled families that take advantage of that option as well. Because as you know, the boundaries for Prior Lake Savage are very unique in terms of how they're drawn with the other neighborhood boundaries.
All right. Is there also a lottery for before and after school childcare?
So our Kids Company program is very well utilized at Leola. That is our before school and after school program. Being that we are a late start school, we don't start until 9:20. We had a lot of families that need to get to work. Again, things look a little different now with a lot of people working from home. But our Kids Company, they don't necessarily have a lottery, but they do have like deadlines to register to. And if they're at capacity, they will always try to add more staff. We're fortunate now because when we were at Edgewood, we were very limited on space. Now we have a lot more space. So they are always looking to add more staff when they can. And like our interns, our Kids Company staff becomes really close with our students. I can't speak enough, especially now that we have our tier 1 essential worker, frontline medical workers. The child care is provided for them, and a lot of that is done with our Kids Company staff, and the work that they have done is outstanding. So, but yes, that does fill up. So if you know that you would need that, I would encourage you to get that in, and then when they can, they try to add more staff as needed.
All right. For kids that come from a multi-language background, do you know how their development is affected by adding another new language?
Great question. It actually enhances. There's a lot of research out there that shows that when you learn a second or third language, it actually helps your first language in terms of how you can develop that. And I'm going to let our experts who do this for a living add a little more to that.
Well, I would like to share in my case, it was kind of funny because when I learned the English was so hard for me, the English. But then I started studying French and I was like, oh my God, I am so smart. And the teacher said, no, Maria, it's because the third language is easier than the second one. And I said, oh, okay, that's it. So yeah, the language after the 3-1 is easier. The 3-4 is easier. So this is the time for the kids to learn another language. So I have students from Russia. So they speak 2 languages already, the English and Russian. So now Spanish in the school. So they are really good. really, really good learning the third language. So I totally recommended the third language. And also I can add my kids, they speak Spanish fluently. Then when we came here, they add English. And now with the third language, they're studying one of them French. It's really easy for them. It's how Richie says, some research in the brain know that.
So I just wanted to share a little bit about just the language acquisition part. So you have your first language, which is your native language, and then you transfer that information to your second or third language. So actually now where research is saying that the kiddos do not have like it's English, Spanish, or French. It's actually like a repertoire of languages. So it's just increasing all this repertoire that they're having, not just one language, but with all of this other knowledge that they're getting from a different language per se.
Also, one more thing I'd like to add is that they usually perform better academically than their peers just because their brain knows so much and is able to learn so much more knowing different languages. So it's a really advantage for a kid that knows 2 languages to learn a third one or a fourth one. It really helps them academically.
And just anecdotally, my son's best friend, his mom is from the Czech Republic, and he was born and raised here, but she was born and raised there. And it has always been important for her that her son can speak Czech so that he has a relationship with the parents or the grandparents. And they made it in the lottery at the old school. But my friend, the mom, she was really nervous about actually putting her son in immersion because she thought it would inhibit his growth speaking Czech. And she ended up ultimately like doing lots of research and deciding to put him in and kind of holding her breath. And 4 years in now, but even after the first year, she said that his Czech and just his willingness to practice using Czech, his confidence in using that language went up so much just from learning Spanish and practicing using another language that was totally different. She said it was the best thing that she ever did, and his Czech improved, and now he speaks Spanish, which no one else in their family does. And he's completely, obviously fluent in English. He was born and raised here, so.
Yeah, it truly is an amazing process. I also forgot to add myself. I have a fifth grader and a third grader at Leola, and just to see them and me being on the opposite side, I'm a native English speaker, but my process of learning Spanish and becoming fluent in Spanish has been, it really does help. Anna, you talked about how it really gets to those connections in the brain, and if you can picture a kindergartner, they're in a context where they might not know everything going on. How many other cognitive things are going on in their brain? They have to look at facial pictures, they look at the group, look at verbals, look at visuals, and then just really try to figure out how to do that, as well as read body language and read emotion, and just in terms of some of those softer affective skills that people need to really develop empathy with that. So there's a lot that goes on through the language learning process that is just beyond learning how to speak, read and write in that language.
All right, I will move on to the form. I'm going to combine 2 into one. They're both about field trips and volunteering. So one parent is wondering how it works to volunteer in the classroom or on field trips as a parent who doesn't speak Spanish. And another is just asking for explanations of how to be involved.
Yeah, I'll turn that one over to either our parents or our teachers. Obviously, things are a little bit different this year, as we keep saying, with COVID, but I'll let our teachers or our parents talk about their involvement.
I can speak to volunteering in the classroom and field trips, because prior to COVID, I like to get into the classroom and I like to be involved with that, because it really is fun to see your child engage in school and see what they're doing. So volunteering in the classroom, generally the teachers will let you know if they do need volunteers. And now, of course, when we go into the schools, we do, all the schools have the safety checks where you go to the office and you present your ID to ensure that, you're a safe person to be in the building. And then you're able to participate in those activities. Field trips, it's a little more involved. They do a background check to ensure that there isn't any criminal activity. So those sorts of things are hammered out prior to the field trip. In terms of not speaking Spanish and going on a class trip where there's Spanish immersion, I mean, clearly the children, they all speak English, so they listen to the chaperones, and you have your small group that you help around. So I mean, we try to have as much Spanish as we can. The teachers definitely engage when they're doing their large groups. They talk to them in Spanish, just as they would address their class. But then, of course, yeah, the chaperones, if we're not fluent, it doesn't count you out from participating in those types of things. So they are fun experiences. So I highly recommend volunteering for them. So.
Also, the PTC is offering this room parent opportunity. So if you're interested, you can be a room parent and be more involved. And you work very closely with us, with the teachers. So my wonderful room parents have written emails. They organize all this extra activities that we do. So yeah, it's also a nice way to be involved.
Yeah, this is my first year, and as Senora Day's room parent, she's reached out, and we've done, some volunteer activities when needed to get the distance learning bags together. We have some email correspondence going around in her teacher group. We are going to do a parent-only Zoom next week just to meet everyone and kind of get the parents talking. So there's definitely ways that parents can become involved, whether you're a room parent or you just want to be able to meet the other parents in your class. So it's definitely possible, even in the distance learning that we have.
So I want to comment on that as well. I have a second grader currently and an incoming kindergartner. So a couple of these teachers are very close to me. Having gone on field trips, it is not a problem if you don't speak a lick of Spanish. They make sure to take their time with you. I have volunteered in classrooms and have had the time of my life, as well as I've been a room parent for 2 years, and it's a blast. Like, if I can make their job easier as a parent, let me sign up. And I have to say, and I should have said this earlier, Richie, sorry for that. This family at Leola has been huge for the transition, like last spring, compared to what other kids have had. There was no hiccups with us. Like, it was smooth sailing from the time school shut down until school was over for the year. Like, it just was a breeze. Well, as much of a breeze as it can be when your children are home 24/7. But for not speaking Spanish, I couldn't have asked for a better situation. So for anybody who's wondering, this school is absolutely amazing beyond words.
Also, I want to say that the PTC really does a good job organizing different events for parents to come and volunteer in the classroom, like the readathon. A lot of parents usually come, I mean, not maybe this year, but in a regular school year, they would come and read books to the kids or help with activities. For ESTEM days, they would come and plan things and help us with activities. Also, I remember last year, one of my interns, he was gonna go on vacation, and I just emailed my parents. I said, I need help. Who can come and help? And they said, do you need somebody who speaks Spanish? I said, it doesn't matter. And a couple of parents came and helped during small groups, and they really like seeing their kids working in the classroom in small groups and helping, even though they didn't know any Spanish. It was awesome to see. And I know that a lot of kindergarten parents want to volunteer and want to be in the classroom, see what the kid is doing, you know, so we love that, we encourage that. So hopefully next year that can happen.
And I do want to be cognizant of time here. I think this is the great questions. Maybe if we had about 5 more minutes left, we can try to get through remaining questions. So I'm not sure how many are left.
Yeah, we just have a handful. We'll try to crank through. The next question is, if you can, we kind of touched on this already, but sharing how Leola creates more cultural understanding, and for the parents, if someone could share if they've seen an impact.
I think I can speak to that. As a parent who, you know, feels like we're in the minority, creating diversity. One of the meetings that, as parents, we were invited to last year was to meet other parents, and also we had our kids meet the other students, and that, I believe, gave us as parents a sense of, you know, family. We were embraced. We felt embraced. We felt at ease, I would say. So yeah, I would encourage parents not to be nervous, not too nervous, because Leola has been personally amazing for a parent, speaking as a parent that was scared and not knowing if my kids, you know, would be comfortable in that setup. You know, they have zero Spanish, other than, of course, the preschool, but just encouraging them as, you know, minorities. They have questions, of course, but yeah, I think having that, and then for the students, or at least my kids at the time, you know, I had my one child in kindergarten, and he's a first grader now. Just seeing that, you know, he's not alone, there's that diversity, was really good.
I think they're also encouraged to ask questions about other cultures. You know, our kids have had teachers from 5 different countries now. And so they hear about where their teachers are from and where friends in class are from. And it encourages that greater dialogue, even from a young age, without them realizing, and not that difference is a bad thing. They learn that difference is a beautiful thing. And that's what makes this world so wonderful.
And I would like to add something. In first grade, we have a festival we call Camino al Éxito. And we show with dancers and songs, different cultures. The last year, we have a huge and amazing dancer from Mexico, and they danced the Aztecs dance, and it was really good. And at the end, a big party and dinner with Mexican and Latin food. It was amazing. We love parties, by the way. And yeah, we share the whole cultures. So I share the love for parties and piñatas. And my colleagues share another cultures, beautiful for food. I remember one of my colleagues in first grade, she used to make Peruvian bread and cookies. So yeah, we love and show the love to different cultures.
Great. We have 5 more questions. So how does the amount of homework and recess and outdoor time compare to other schools in the district?
You know, I think it's very similar to what you'd find in terms of like the projects that are assigned for kindergarten, but also the involvement that parents help support with. I'll probably let, if anyone wants to speak more specific to that, what it looks like in terms of homework and.
Well, as far as kindergarten goes, there's really no homework. I mean, there's a couple of projects. So right now we're doing the diorama project, which is, we've got 2-3 weeks to work on it. I remember my son doing it in kindergarten, and I'm starting that adventure with my daughter this week. So there's some activities that are set up to do, but nothing like you have math homework every night, or if you didn't finish something that you would be obligated to have it completed by the next morning. That sort of thing doesn't happen in kindergarten or really in first grade. Again, kind of that arc, my son being in third grade, he has a little bit more of the it's hard for me to say at home work right now because we're always at home, but there are a few activities that are done outside of the class structure. So some obligations, like we're reading obligations, just some online like math, just to keep up with things and get their brain cells churning a little bit. But I don't believe, Richie, that that's part of their grade, though, right? I mean, they're asked to do this, but it doesn't affect their grading. So we do what we can at our house, even though we're pretty well locked down. We still have crazy schedules within our house, so we don't always get to it, and it hasn't negatively affected us thus far. So that's kind of what my experience has been with homework.
All right. How many children who are registered are admitted, and do families get turned away in the lottery system?
So every year the school board sets a cap. Last year it was 88 families or students allowed. We have not. So there's two different pots of enrollment. One of them is resident families that live in the district. If we don't hit that threshold after that first, I believe it's the first 6 weeks it's open, then families that have applied are automatically accepted. Sorry, but I believe it's open for 4 weeks. And then after that, if there is space available, then they would take families that are open enrolled and then do a lottery and then backfill. And then once we get to that cap, then they start a wait list. And again, the wait list fluctuates a lot. We especially have a lot of families that they just don't know if they want it to be an option, and they might just apply anyway. A lot of families that choose to move or hold their child back another year. Like there's a lot of families that always are, that September or that summer birthday, they don't know if they'll be ready, but they want the option there in case it's on the table. So.
Another one kind of related to registration or attending is, do you ever have kids that struggle and decide to transfer to another school out of Olodolago? Yeah, that's it. We have had families that have chosen to start at Olodolago and then go to another option. Some of that being homeschooling, some of that being private school, some of it their neighborhood school. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily because of a struggle. I think sometimes it's always an individual choice. We do have students at Olodolago that struggle, just like you would find at any other school. So I don't know that it's necessarily based upon that. Sometimes families just need to make decisions that they think is best. But there's not really a pattern or something like that. So I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything to that.
I will add that coming into Olodolago, it is a choice. We're choosing to put our students in an immersive environment that we may not know the language, me being one of those. So I've definitely had my ebbs and flows, but I will say that that community and really the teachers, and Anna, I'm looking at you, I've called you before, we've had conversations, So the teachers are so good at finding out what is the issue, what are the concerns you're having, and pulling together and working together to meet those needs so that our children can thrive. And generally, yeah, it's not around the Spanish language. It's just different life circumstances, and especially COVID has thrown a big whopper into that. And I think a lot of families need to make choices based upon that right now. But we're in it to win it. So, so I do, again, I want to thank all of the teachers that my kids have worked with, and all of the staff at Olodolago, because they've been wonderful. It's been an extension of our family, being transplants into Prior Lake, so not having family here.
Excellent. The next question kind of piggybacks on that. So it's a little bit more specific. My son tends to be a bit of a perfectionist and does not always want to jump ahead and try new things unless he knows he can do it right. He is quite bright, but can get frustrated with himself if he doesn't understand right away. I'm wondering if putting him in immersion would be good to work on this, or would it cause problems? What are your thoughts?
I would answer that Olodolago is a great option for any student that was interested in it. You're going to find perfectionist kids in any environment, and I don't think that the immersion or language acquisition piece would necessarily do that. Actually, counter that, I would say what I might also challenge to kids that really do like things in a certain way, having them try to figure out and wrestle with that acquisition piece, or things that maybe come easy to them, is a kind of an opportunity to get them thinking differently.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I am a perfectionist as well. So you don't know me. But yes, so it helps you with problem solving. Acquiring a different language and being immersed in a language, it just helps you with problem solving. So it's one of the skills that we want our kiddos to learn. That's one of the skills that I needed to learn in order to cope with the perfectionist, and not all the things are going to be the way that I want them to be. So it would be a really good skill to learn. So yeah.
Yeah, our son was kind of, we were interested in Olodolago for exactly this reason. Like every parent, I consider him very bright. He's a perfectionist, just like his mama. And I have seen him really grow, and just like you're saying, use this as a way to learn more and problem solve. And he still wants to get it right, but he can understand that there's different ways to think about things. And he's been doing really, really well.
I think it also helps the fact that all the kids are like kind of in the same level. So they all are kind of struggling at the beginning. So they can see that they are not alone. They are in a group of kids that are trying their best to succeed. So yeah, I think that helps.
Great. Okay, last question. How do the kids do socially when they transfer to middle school?
Ooh, great question. This fall was the first time that our inaugural class went to middle school this year. So last year we graduated our first fifth grade class. We were very cognizant about 2 years ago to start putting together a continuation program. So there is a track program currently in place at the middle school for grades 6, 7, and 8. We have that figured out. There will be continuation as they get to high school as well. We're just not there yet. But the plan is that all kids have the opportunity to take like an advanced kind of Spanish composition class, and then social studies is taught in Spanish. We have an amazing teacher. I think probably the good majority of all of our kids that graduated from fifth grade last year are continuing with that middle school programming. I've heard a lot of positive reports already from the middle school principals, but also just the teacher who's doing it. Highlighting one thing that's happening tomorrow, if you have a fifth grader, they're taking something called the APPLE, so the ACTFL, I can't remember the acronym. So it's a Spanish proficiency test that tests reading, writing, listening, and speaking. I've seen it a billion times. If I Googled it, I would know what it is. But what it is that it's a nationally normed test that our 5th graders took last year, but are also taking again this year. And that really helps programming for middle school to know exactly like where some of the areas that kids are strong on and where they can reinforce that. So, but yes, that's kind of where we're at with that middle school. So if that is our last question, I want to thank you all for hanging in there. Again, I didn't know if this was going to last a half hour or an hour and a half. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for our parents. Thank you to our fabulous staff. Thank you for Chelsea. And thank you for taking the time to be part of this.
And Richie, is it okay if I drop your email in the chat if people have follow-up questions?
Absolutely. Yeah. And and you know what, if there are any other questions, if anybody wants to stay on the line, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise you can contact me directly. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Gracias. Adiós.